Good afternoon, and welcome many of you back to St. Stephen's. I welcome you here at St. Stephen's, and it's our pleasure to convene these forums along with our partners and neighbors together, where we can look at the values of our community and today take a new concentration in our efforts, and that's keeping our community strong. If this is your first time here, you'll be a quick study and get right on board with us. We're asking for your best creative effort as we see ways in which we may move forward with this railroad construction period in our lives, whatever that may be, and the bridge construction period. Once again, I'd like to introduce Jim Kish. Kish, who's our communicator with our community and the states and all sorts of powers that be in construction, etc. Jim, if you want to get information from him, has a whole pocket of business cards that he can share with you, and very soon we'll be launching a blog that we can all use to communicate back and forth with him. So welcome to you all. Again, this is our third forum, but the beginning of our second set of forum ideas or workshops in Neighbors Together. And today we're going to be split up in a few minutes by Eric into different places. And we're going to be addressing three issues: the viability of downtown businesses, accessibility to downtown pedestrian and vehicular traffic, and also the cultural center and community vibrancy of our community in three different discussion sessions. Yes, communications is going to be different. It's going to be on the list of communication issues. So that's my understanding. Okay. So anyway, welcome. I'm going to tell you where you can go for restrooms. You can see where you can help yourself to hospitality, take care of your own needs and hospitality. Some of our groups will be downstairs, and there are restrooms down on that level. Some of our groups will be upstairs. There's a restroom on that level, and there's one on this level in the back. There's a stairway here, a stairway there, and also an elevator that will take you up or down. So it doesn't matter where you're assigned, you can get there from here. I would like to once again welcome Barry Lawson and Lynn Lawson to our presence, and they're going to help facilitate this meeting today. And I'm going to turn it right over to Barry.
Thanks, Susan. And this is the exciting time. It was really a lot of fun a couple of weeks ago when we had two groups of people in identifying values, and we're going to have to work hard to top the work that they did in identifying those things that they felt should be preserved and protected in Middlebury. We had a nice long list. We put together an interim report, and you probably will get a semblance of the conclusions of that, if you haven't already, before the afternoon is over. I'm going to welcome you to this important forum for collecting your ideas on how to preserve what you love in downtown Middlebury while the downtown bridges are being reconstructed. As Susan said, I'm Barry Lawson from Barry Lawson Associates in Peacham, and I'll be the facilitator and for the meeting also that will be held on Thursday evening, which will be similar to this. Lynn Lawson, who is the lead note taker, joins me here, and it's our pleasure to be working with Neighbors Together and with you all. As has been said, the goal of this and Thursday's meeting is to gather specific ideas on how to protect what you love about downtown Middlebury while the bridges are being rehabilitated. These meetings are a follow-up to the early meetings, as I said before, we've taken what we consider to be the high priority values and put them into four major categories that you'll be addressing this afternoon. One of them is accessibility, that is the pedestrian and vehicle access to downtown, signs, parking, and finding your way around. The second is on economic vitality, which is maintaining a thriving retail and commercial sector downtown during construction. The third is downtown as a community and cultural center, how to make sure we don't lose what makes Middlebury. And also a fourth one, which is communication. How would people like to be kept up to date on the construction project? You're going to be divided into 4 breakout groups. Is that right, 4?
Yes.
Okay. And each of these groups will have 1 hour and 10 minutes to address all of these topics I just mentioned. Please work with your group to come up with specific ideas that can be implemented to protect these values. We have volunteer facilitators and volunteer reporters to help you. Also, 1 person in each group will be chosen, hopefully self-selected, to be a reporter back to the plenary session at the end of the afternoon. There will be notes taken in 3 different ways. We have a reporter who will be taking notes on sheets of paper in each of your groups. The facilitator will have a flip chart, such as you see over here, on which you can post post-its for ideas that you have, and talk to the facilitators about organizing that as best as possible. It's going to be done on the fly, but you do it the best you can in organizing how the information is displayed. And the people who will serve as reporters will come back. They're certainly invited to bring those flip charts back with them so that they can use that as a basis for the discussion. If you have a chance to identify the highest priority ideas, that's fine, but basically we want you to be as creative as possible. There are no bad ideas, by the way, so if you have an idea that you think is worth considering, please don't hesitate to say so. There's also a sheet of paper which is called the participant sheet, which each of you will get in your breakout session. I believe it's yellow. And on that sheet, by the end of the day, we'd like to have you turn that into us. And that will be a place for you to record any ideas that you have that did not necessarily get recorded in your particular group, any other concern that you might have. And if you have some interest in possibly helping out in refining these ideas later after these forums are over, there's a place for your name, email address, and or phone number. So we'd like to have each one of you fill one of those out before you leave and leave with us. Lynn and I, after this session and after the Thursday session, will be taking the flip charts and all of the sheets that have been done by the reporters and all of the notes we've taken the plenary session back to create a report. So please turn those in to us so that we can get to work on those. Are there any questions before we go further? It should be self-explanatory. When you get into each of the individual groups, there'll be all the materials that you need. For the reporters, there are notes and guidelines for the reporters, and I think I've talked to all of the facilitators, and I'll be roaming around to help and assist in any way I can. If there are no questions, then I'm going to turn it over to Eric, and he will distribute to you in different areas. We have a variety of ways that this is going to be presented. Some people, I guess most people, will be talking from their flip charts. I think there's one group, the awesome group, that may not be using those charts. This was my mistake. I should have given you names, but I couldn't have done as well as you did in some cases of what room you were in or what group you were in. So when you turn in the yellow sheets, it's not essential, but if you can also put the group in, that would be good. We have, and Sheila's group was called the upstairs group, and downstairs Steve's group was called, very originally, Steve's group. Eric's group was, and I'll apologize for them, the awesome group, and Laura's group, I'm calling you the chapel group. Does that work?
Yeah, we're the chapel. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, very good. Okay. So, we're not necessarily going to take them in order of accessibility, vitality, da-da-da-da-da. I've posted 2 of the groups things here, so we'll take them as they come. Whatever subject comes up first, and we'll flip them over. And Steve's group has still got some more to work on, so we won't put that. We'll call them last. And so for the first group, is this group right here, which, is this the chapel group?
Downstairs.
This is downstairs.
Upstairs, so it's me.
Oh, it's upstairs. Okay, are you the presenter?
I am.
Oh, terrific. And what your name is?
Mariah.
Mariah. Oh, this is great. Here you go. Good luck.
Thank you.
You have 1.5 minutes. Is someone else?
For all, I thought I had 4.
Yeah, you can have 4.5 minutes.
4, okay. So I'm Mariah, Solo Star Communications. We all agreed that it would be important to have one source with clear, accessible communication so everybody knows that that's where they need to go to. We talked about a dedicated section in the Addison Independent with traffic updates and schedules, bulletin boards, public service announcements on the radio, email and text alerts, the way that the snowball.
A little bit.
Oh, sorry. Well, this is tricky email and text alerts. One idea that we had sort of for our marketing is along the lines of the old Burma Shave signs posted on the Route 7 north and south, sort of letting people know what's happening and using some humor to explain the situation. There's a lot here. Should I just go through it all, or pick out the highlights and move on?
If it's possible to summarize what you think the major points were, and I will just apologize, we obviously don't have time to go through every idea that people have. So if you could give us a brief notion of the areas that you went in, that will be fine, and the rest of it will be in the report.
Yeah, I think the main one was just having one source that everybody could go to and rely on as having the most up-to-date information. We also talked about liaising with businesses and specifically the Heart of Vermont Lodging Association, who aren't in Middlebury, but obviously have residents and guests who maybe want to go into Burlington at Middlebury, and making sure that they know what's happening as well, and get their support, and then that out to the page. Okay, so Community Culture Center, we had a lot of ideas for specific events, but I will let the report talk about those specifically. We just wanted to have more big events like the Chili Fest, and then more smaller events, you know, music, concerts, plays, to draw people in. We also talked about finding events that would draw the college students' attention and bring them downtown, and they want to be involved, they want to be engaged, make it easy for them to do that.
Food.
And food, with food, yeah. Free food for college kids is always a win. Free food for everybody tends to work. And then we talked specifically about how to engage people with help in planning these kind of events that we need to preserve community and culture, and ways to do that we came up with were Chamber of Commerce sign-up lists, free childcare as much as possible, and then working with Front Porch Forum. Economic vitality. We all agree for the need for a really strong public relations campaign, encouraging people to shop locally, put it on bumper, figure out what the slogan is, and put it on bumper stickers, banners, T-shirts, to really keep what's happening in Middlebury in people's mind, and to remind them of why it's important. One slogan that we came up with was, "If you love Middlebury, shop Middlebury." It's just an idea, a way to remind people of what's at stake and how they can support it. And then we have lots of events and ideas for how to do that. And so I think for accessibility, our main ones were expanding public transit and creating shuttle buses to get people to park on the outskirts and get them into town as much as possible without using their cars, both for the construction workers but also for tourists, also for employees who work in Middlebury. Clear signage everywhere is important. I think that's it for the main points. I'm sure everybody.
Well done, well
All
done.
right, that's very well done. Okay, the next group I have here, you think I can remember this? This is the chapel group.
Right.
And it's Lynn. Thanks, Lynn.
Thank you. All right, we wanted to show you that we were organized. And some of those have specific additional comments, but here's the summary. Under economic viability, community members make a local pledge to buy in town and to shop. Downtown merchants promote special incentives. Could be something like buy so much and and you get a pass to the movies. There's a form on discount days. Bumper sticker campaign to promote downtown shopping, and a scavenger hunt. You've done those, right?
Oh, yeah, that'd be fun.
All right. So then the next one,
What are we scavenging for?
that is yet to be decided.
Okay. Have to know whether I want to be here.
All right, please. The specifics of all these suggestions are here, so I won't read all those. Mural on chain link fences, changed every month. Street musicians and other entertainers. Educational programs downtown for children. Loud rock groups playing so we can have dances while the dynamiting is going on. Things like street hockey, flash dance, and the Festival on the Green events moved back to the Village Green as a possibility. Communications. Communications. Regular updates in Addison Independent, Front Porch Forum, updates on local radio stations, and use of digital signage in the new town hall and around the community. Regular updates for community liability online and with the bog.
What happened to the organization?
Well, yes, it is organized.
It's a Venn diagram. It's just decorative.
Accessibility. Alternative parking lots, suggesting some places around town, haven't asked anybody about this, that would allow for transportation to come downtown. Frequent communication as to where to park and where to walk. Communication with the community from Actor. Good signage, distinctive signage for the whole experience. And viewing platforms that you could go up on that would allow you to see the construction.
Sidewalk superintendent.
Sidewalk superintendent.
That's it.
Did I get them all?
You did. Glenn, great job. A plug for the retired groups to have a sidewalk superintendent.
Right.
Are you ready? Sure. I tell you, because we're going to have to post your stuff, let me take the other group and then we'll come back. See, there was another group downstairs, but I can't remember what their name was.
Team Awesome.
Oh, awesome, that's right.
Blew their mind, I couldn't remember the name.
Okay, I'm Paul, and I'll kind of go through, we had a number of similar things, but on downtown as a community and cultural center, maybe having the use of Sheldon Museum or other galleries to have exhibits documenting the process. We also talked quite a bit about how do you get the college involved? How do you bring students into the town? A lot of art-related items, music. You could use them as far as with performances, galleries, use St. Stephen's or the Congregational Church as other places. Maybe we also have utilized the college and come up with job descriptions where some of the students could volunteer. Should there be an arts council that's formed in Middlebury to really promote a lot of these cultural type of events? To have music concert series downtown, movie nights, some type of themes that are train related, etc. Have a big party, maybe during or at the end of the concert. Bells, ringing all the bells at the same time during the summertime along with Carolyn. Beautification along the buildings and the falls. Maybe have some contests on collages, best pictures, etc. With the churches, maybe we look at staggering services so that people can get downtown. Moving on to communications. I'll kind of skip over the traditional old-fashioned type of items. It looks like a lot of people prefer the electronic type. Maybe we have a visual communication, a 24-hour camera that people can go to look at the progress. The other thing is really, how do you build excitement around this process? Have publicity, ads on VPR, how do we get in articles in, various magazines, papers, Vermont magazines, New York Times, Globe, utilizing some of the state websites, etc. Logic, how do we help them and help to communicate them during this process? Maybe there's opportunities for packages, 36 hours in Middlebury, highlighting the local activities, etc. And having special signage, not just internally to Middlebury area, but on the outside too, in the county, but also other counties beyond Addison County. Accessibility. Maybe we do, first of all, is to have some type of health type of challenge, walking X number of miles. People kind of keep track of that, etc. Better parking, off-site, garage, shuttle bus. Should we have some type of use of golf carts around town in the summertime? Here's an interesting one. Raising the fines from $5 to a higher amount so that, with only a $5 fine, people will come in and probably park downtown for most of the day. Security fencing for safety. Getting support of law enforcement, especially on busy weekends. We've talked a lot about the signage around town. Having the pedestrian access along the green is going to be important. Maybe utilize and have people as ambassadors or conductors that can volunteer to tell people what's going on around town. With those golf carts, maybe we have some type of corporate sponsorship for the shuttle buses, golf carts, etc. Moving on to economic vitality. The events have more of some of the things that we're having, the staggered dough nights, and things that really encourage people to come downtown. The branding and advertising, the very, very Middlebury's, the Better Business Bureau and Chamber could get involved with that also. Our frequent shopper card. There was some discussion also about with some of the businesses, they are going to encourage, if there are any opportunities for grants through other agencies. Another thing that we do to businesses is maybe we have some type of TLC gestures to them. Fridays, we understand sometimes that work is going to stop for a certain time period. Have extended business hours on Friday nights. Delivery services for products. How do we educate people? This other part about puns and inspiring certain events. We could have contests to name events, the railroad movies, etc. that are kind of train related. I think that was about it.
That was awesome. And I have a volunteer to help me hold these up for Steve. Okay, thanks.
All right, so I'll try to hit the highlights, but of things that we haven't heard so much about. So let's see if I can. So on accessibility, of course, a lot about signs, real-time signs, LED or other things that can change as often as they need to. Parking, some transport and traffic changes, public or otherwise, that might take place. We also had several ideas around people, movers, and structures, pedestrian bridges, or or even like the moving snow carpet up the bunny slope at the Snow Bowl or something, way to move people around that might be less high tech than a big escalator or something. But there were a variety of ideas that our group came up with around that. Okay, next one. The next one up here is community and culture. We also had quite a few, the last group talked about having a viewing stand and a camera. We actually think maybe there should be multiple cameras. So we have maybe the downtown cameras, so people can see what's going on downtown. We could have like what I started to call the dodo camera, because my kids used to look at a bulldozer and you would go bulldodo. So the construction, right, you have a camera on the construction for those people who want to see it. Maybe there's one in the parking area, the parking cam, so you can see all the empty spaces that are available for you. Let's see, town crier, we came up with that idea, or greeters or other people around town that could help people facilitate. Maybe there'd be a center, visitor center or something where you could get information or get earplugs or nose plugs, other things going on around that. A lot about town coordination. Can we do events, town hall theater events? Some of them happen at the college actually, if it was during that worst season of the construction up the street here. Yeah, next one. Economic vitality. A lot of ideas around ads and discounts and special sales. One idea to add to the idea about delivery, we were also thinking, we talked a little bit about that too, but you could combine that with helping businesses with their online shopping capabilities. So you could shop locally online and have them delivered. Combine those ideas. We talked a little bit about creating some fund that could help the businesses out. Maybe you'd buy a season pass to shopping downtown. Some of that money could then help out particular businesses that had a harder time than others. Next one. Communication, this was last, we didn't have a lot of time. We had a lot of the same ideas that you all had. The one thing that I haven't heard is the idea that you, as you came into town, you might hold there'd be some sort of sign with an electronic beam thing or scanner thing, and you could, as you came into town, you could hold up, you'd have an app or something where you hold up and into your phone would come today's information as you scanned it into your phone somehow. I don't know that somebody else in the crowd, no, it was just Ken's idea. I don't know if that's because he actually knew how it could work, but yeah, anyway. But I think that did reflect also a somewhat broader conversation we had about how those of us of a certain age go to websites, but then there are probably a lot of people for whom that would not be active enough, so they would need to somehow get onto this device, texting or in some other way, in order for it to reach a broader section of folks.
Very good.
Thank you.
Great. Well done.
Pretty quick point.
Please.
I thought of one other thing. That,
Sure.
Somebody in our group mentioned this, and I thought it was quite innovative, and I thought it was worth highlighting because we didn't really forgot to mention it. But in the economic vitality, approach the state about a tax-free zone, which would be great for the merchants. And that would be a no-cost thing to help them. It might certainly, I think that's definitely worth pursuing.
You don't have a local tax here, do you? Oh, you do have it? Oh, do you really? Ah, interesting. Okay, great. Well, I just said, you all deserve a real round of applause. That was just terrific, all of us. What are we going to do now? Pardon me? Sure.
before I do shopping, because if I do that and shopping, the only places to sit is maybe the library, if I can get that far, and a restaurant, which I can afford. So I would suggest that the town maybe have some more benches or things for people. I know the bookstore has what I call the granny chair, a chair for people who need to sit, and the library, but otherwise, there's no place to sit. And if I'm walking into town, I need a rest before I can spend my money.
Terrific. Anybody else have a last minute idea? Here we go.
Well, it occurs to me, I see it, I live in a retirement community, and there are a number of seniors who do not have email, who do not have electronic phones, and everything, all of the communication is being geared towards the electronic world. And I think that people need to take it into consideration, that you lose a lot of people who don't have electronic mail.
Any particular suggestions along those lines?
No.
This newspaper, mail, yes.
I wanted to make a request. I love brainstorming, and I think that in my years and years and years of brainstorming, one of the things I always notice is people break the rule that you're not supposed to criticize ideas as the ideas come up. And one of the ways that a subtle criticism of ideas comes up is summaries. So my request is to you two especially, and to everybody who's on the Neighbors Together committee, please make a list of every single post-it. Don't leave any bullets out, because very, very often in brainstorming, the craziest, wackiest idea somehow promotes another idea that actually is feasible. So please put every bullet.
Good suggestion. Okay, now, anybody else want to? Oh.
In our group, it didn't get reported out, but the school system is one of the partners in Neighbors Together, and educational programs around the construction around the railroad and that might be offered. I don't know, do you have a good viewing point in the bank? We've got a good viewing point up here, and maybe another one from Battelle, the Battelle Block Building. We could work with the schools to do some educational things about both construction and railroad, not just movies, but things working with the children in the area.
Oh, good. Good suggestion. Eric? Come to you.
I just wanted to make one general comment. First of all, thanks to everyone for coming today. But as a member of the Neighbors Together Steering Committee, I just wanted to say that having worked on this process now over the past 6 months or so, and then the meetings 3 weeks ago and today, one of the things I very much like about this is it's enabling us to make connections among the individuals, organizations, and groups in the community that may not have talked to each other all that much before, and are now realizing how much they share in common and how many opportunities there are for collaborative action, not just in responding to the railroad bridge construction project, but other efforts going on in town. And I hope that is one of the things that is a positive outcome of this whole process that lasts way beyond the time when the bridges are done and the trains are rolling again. So thank you all.
Great suggestion. Yes. Before you leave, everyone should have received a yellow sheet. And on that yellow sheet, there's a place for any thought that you would like to emphasize or concern that you have that you want to make sure it gets reported. And also, if you would like to offer your name or volunteer services to work with a group of people to follow up on some of these ideas, flesh them out and so forth, we'd like to have your name and a phone number and or an email address so that people can get in touch with you to do that work. And so if you could turn in all of those yellow sheets to Lynn or to me, or yeah, that's probably best to Lynn and me before you leave, I appreciate it. The recorders, you had a really tough job, and I really appreciate all of you what you did. Also, please turn in your sheets to us so that we have the benefit of cross-checking. And the facilitators, Boy, I tell you, I really appreciate your volunteering for doing that. I mean, when you're responsible for keeping track of ideas and the time and making sure it's balanced, that can take a toll. So anyways, I appreciate Sheila and the rest of you for doing that. The next step in the process is on Thursday evening, we're going to do the same thing with another group of people. I guess if you'd like to come back, you may, but we're hoping that we'll have another group of people who go through the same thing. When we get through that, we are putting together a draft report which we're going to submit ASAP. After that, we'll find out how quickly ASAP is. We're going to see how many of those Post-its we have to record. And then after that, it's in the hands of neighbors together to figure out where they go from here. Anyways, thank you very much. How are we doing for time? We're a little over, but still, we did very well to get all of this done this afternoon. We appreciate it. There's still some food to enjoy. So as we're wrapping up, if you'd like to help yourself, please do. Thank you once again. We really appreciate it. You want to say a final word?
Sure.
First of all, I'd like to give some of these to each side. Would you just pass those? And I just want to once again take the prerogative to say thank you to Barry, thank you to Linda coming and working with us and the steering committee for organizing this and creating a process that would get these ideas in a workable place. I'm passing out these orange sheets because we decided not to use them in our publicity, and we have them. Use it as an invitation. Pass it on to someone you think ought to come to the session on Thursday night, and use that as your personal invitation to them. And thank you everybody for coming, and again, encourage others to come Thursday night and stay involved. Please put your name down on those sheets for something you might be involved with going forward. So thank you all, and good night.